I came here to heal, I came here to grow. Lesson in love, they helped me let go. I chose this path, I chose this time. Everything I need, I hold inside. I came here to heal, I came here to grow. Lesson in love, they helped me let go. I chose this path, I chose this time. Everything I need, I hold inside. Sometimes the rebuild starts the moment that you admit you are no longer the person you worked so hard to become. And today, we're going to talk about that silent identity shift and how to navigate it with clarity and compassion. Welcome, and welcome back to another episode of Rebuilding Me, the Art of Starting Again with me, Tisha Michelle, your host. All right, so we're going to step into this first episode of the Identity Rebuild series. And this one is close to my heart because it's something I truly believe that so many of us go through, but we go through it quietly. And it's that moment when you realize, wait a minute. You mean to tell me I worked so hard to become this version of me, and now I got the nerve to have outgrown her or him? And nobody tells you how confusing that moment can be. Nobody tells you that you can feel grateful and guilty at the same time, proud of who you've been, yet aching for something more. You got one foot in the old life and one foot in the new identity, but that new identity hasn't even fully formed yet. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about that in-between space because that's where the rebuild actually begins. You know, there's this moment in your life where the shift doesn't come with a bang and fireworks. It's not always this breakdown or this breakthrough. Sometimes the shift is quiet. It's a whisper, a feeling. For me, it's a quiet knowing. And for a lot of people, it sounds like, I'm grateful for this life, ... but something in me doesn't fit anymore. And that's when the guilt creeps in. Because you remember how hard you worked to get here. And you start to remember the prayers, the grind, the tears, maybe even some sacrifices. And now you got the nerve that you don't want it anymore? What? Or maybe you want parts of it, but not all of it. It's like you want something deeper, you want something freer, or something that feels like who you're becoming rather than who you actually are. And I felt this when I outgrew a version of myself that I thought I'd be forever. I had checked the boxes, I built the things, I created the things, I helped people, I accomplished things, and on paper, everything looked great. But internally, it felt like wearing a pair of shoes that's one size too small. You can still walk, you can still function, it just doesn't feel like you. And that's the identity shift. And it usually happens long before we actually admit it. So let's be real. Nobody wants to feel ungrateful. So when you feel yourself outgrowing who you used to be, guilt shows up like, who am I to want more? Or people would kill to be in this position. I should just be happy. If I let go of this identity, am I disrespecting the version of me who fought so hard to create it? And if you're really being honest, there's another layer. Sometimes you don't want to disappoint people who love that old version of you. Maybe you don't want to confuse them. Maybe you don't want to deal with the questions, the judgments, the what happened, or the why aren't you doing this anymore? And you don't even have an answer, so you feel bad for not having an answer. So you say, you know what, I'm just going to stay this version of me. And you stay in this limbo. One foot in the old life for comfort. The other foot reaching for the new life that you can feel, but you just can't fully see it yet. But let me tell you something. Guilt is absolutely not a sign that you're wrong. Guilt is a sign that you are evolving faster than the identity that you're still carrying. And when you've outgrown who you were, the universe starts nudging you. You start to feel restless. Your spirit feels too big for the space that you're in. The opportunities that once excited you, they now feel like blah, flat. Conversations that used to fuel you, get you hype, they just don't even hit the same. And even the habits and the routines that worked before, they also start to feel heavy. And it's not that you're lost, it's actually that you are starting to shed. And if you're listening right now and you've been feeling that tug, That quiet inner shift, that knowing. I want you to hear this. You're not breaking down, you're breaking identity. And this, my friend, is called being rebuilt. This is your initiation. So let's talk about something that people ignore. Your body. Your body recognizes the shift before your mind does. So you might feel irritation with things that never bothered you before, and you think you're going crazy because, like, wait, this isn't new. So why am I tweaking like this? Or you'll have increased sensitivity, a desire to rest more. You may have an urge to isolate or withdraw, go in hermit mode. I'm famous for that. You might have a pull towards different environments, different people, different work. You just may just start thinking and be like, I don't know, I kind of want like a new crew. Not saying I want to let go of like these people and stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I should be around different people with different conversations. You might start feeling like a need for silence or like that being still. Or your girl's favorite. You start to have like a sudden desire to burn everything down and just start again. Just be like, I'm done. I'm just going to burn it all down. And these aren't signs that something is wrong. These are signs that something old is starting to end. And your nervous system is starting to recalibrate. Your energetic field is expanding. Your identity is starting to dissolve so that a new one can emerge. And again, my friends, this is the rebuild. So here are some things that you can do. Like, here's a tool. I always like to say, like, we're like, whether you want to say I'm the maintenance person and I got like my toolbox and my tool belt, or I'm an artist and here's my box, right? So I feel like we all should have a bunch of tools and start pulling them out. So one of the tools is name the version that you're outgrowing. I want you to say it out loud. I want you to write it down. I just want you to bring it into your awareness. So do both. And you can say like, I honor the version of me who got me here. However, she can't take me where I'm going. And that's okay. When you name it, you start to release the guilt, because now you're separating gratitude from attachment. And a lot of people feel like, but I should just be grateful. And that's okay. Two things can coexist at the same time. You can be grateful and still want to experience something new or more. Another tool is to identify those signs of misalignment. What used to feel like purpose, but now feels heavy. Or what do you do out of obligation instead of desire? That's a big one. Are you like, but I should go here. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Well, those are all beliefs, and you just have to make sure that they're your beliefs. Or, if they're your beliefs, where did they come from? Or where do you feel drained instead of expanded? And what I've personally noticed is that clarity isn't always loud. Sometimes it's simply noticing what no longer feels like home or feels safe or feels comfortable. Another thing you can do is ask your future self, ask yourself a future-based question. So instead of like, what should I do next? I'm famous. I'm like, what do I do next? And then I'm like trying to scan and I'm just trying to force, and it's like, But then if you say like, well, what version of me am I becoming, and what does she or he need from me today? Then it starts to soften a little bit, and you're just like, what version of me am I becoming? And I feel a little excited. And then I'm like, all right, what do you need? What do you need from me today? And it's so light and refreshing that I feel like at ease in this inner peace, and then things start to present itself. And this is the shift. This shifts you out of guilt and allows you to step into growth. And then you start to make decisions from expansion instead of making the decision from fear. Because when we make these decisions out of fear, we just be looking back like, damn, I regret that thing. And I'm not saying that's all the time, just the majority. Another tool is to give yourself permission to evolve. Like, literally say it. I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm allowed to grow. I'm allowed to want more. And notice how you feel when you're saying that. Do you feel like a fraud? Does it feel fake? Where are you feeling it out in your body? So then I want you to keep leaning into it, because you are allowed to change your mind. Just because you was doing this yesterday doesn't mean you have to do it tomorrow if you don't want to. And that is okay. You're growing. You're succeeding at life because you are evolving. Hello. And it's like people forget that you can outgrow your dreams, or you can outgrow your success, or you can outgrow your identity. And that doesn't mean that you failed. It means you actually lived. It's like, It's like if you worked, jobs for like 20 years of your life, and then you go into entrepreneurship, and then you're like, I should get a job. And then you're like, oh, I don't know where to start. And you're like, okay. But then you just start looking at jobs that you did 10 years ago, because that's all you know. It might have been 3 or 4 different fields, but that's all that you know. So now you're just like going back into that, because you're not allowing yourself like that space to say, man, I've collected so much data. I think I actually want to experience something different, and that's okay. Like it's okay. Give yourself permission, and I'm giving you permission. Another tool, that 1 foot in and 1 foot out check in. When you start to feel torn between the old and the new, I want you to ask yourself, where am I holding on to something that no longer holds me? Again, where am I holding on to something that no longer holds me? And as you're listening to this, something is probably already popping in your head. I want you to trust it, because you're not giving yourself time to overthink. Just trust what came up and start working from there. Because sometimes the only thing keeping you stuck is loyalty to an outdated version of yourself. I'm a Taurus. We as loyal as a mug. And I'll just be like, but I feel bad. I feel guilty. Stop. And I want you to know that it's okay. You built her or him. You loved her. But you don't have to stay her if you don't want to. You don't. All right, so this is important. So listen. Listen up, y'all. When you outgrow a version of yourself, nothing, and hear me, nothing you did was wasted. You're not throwing away your progress. You're actually absorbing it. Everything you built is becoming a foundation. Everything you learned is turning into wisdom. And everything that you survive, that's fuel. So you're not starting over as a beginner. I like to say you're starting again as this upgraded version of yourself. And that right there, come on now, that is power. You hear me? That is power. And if you're listening to this and you feel that shift inside of you, if you feel yourself being pulled towards something bigger, if you feel like you've outgrown the life people still know you as, I want you to breathe right now. I want you to place one hand on your heart and one on your belly. And I want you to just breathe. And I want you to take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And let it out. And while your hand is still on your heart and one on your belly, I want you to tell yourself, I'm not leaving myself behind. I'm meeting my future self for the first time. Right? I'm not leaving myself behind. I'm meeting my future self for the first time. And that's what this series is about, the identity rebuild. It's not tearing yourself apart. However, you're honoring who you've been while also claiming who you're becoming. So, thank you guys for being here with me today. Thank you for being honest with yourself. This is the work. This is the rebuild. And I want you guys to make sure that you follow, subscribe, share this episode with someone who needs it, someone you know who is in that in-between space. And as always, if you're ready to go deeper and you're looking for some more support, you can connect with me on Instagram at Tisha Michelle Official. Yeah. Until next time, keep rebuilding. keep remembering, keep returning to who you really are. Thank you for tuning in to Rebuilding Me, the sacred art of starting again. If this episode spoke to your soul, be sure to subscribe, leave me a review, and most importantly, share it with someone who's on their own journey of remembering who they are. And just know, you're not alone, and you never have to start from scratch. You're starting again, but this time with wisdom. Until next time, stay open, stay grounded, and trust your rebuild. And if you need help navigating this journey, make sure to visit www.tishamichelleofficial.com and book a sacred reset session.